The results of my angiogram were not good. Hey, what's shaking bacon? My name is Bruno Panucci. I hope you're doing well. So I had an angiogram a few days ago. So if you've been following my videos, you'll see I had an angiogram. So the procedure went well. I had no side effects really to speak of other than what's normal, some wrist tenderness. I wasn't allowed to move my right wrist. That's the artery that they go up, the radial artery. That radial artery is your thumb. Remember, the radius gets you the ride. That's how you always know which side is your radial side of your arm. It's the side that your thumb is on. No matter which way your hand is turned, that's your radial bone. So it goes out the lateral side of the arm. Anyway, they go up the radial artery and they go in there and they explain the whole procedure before. So there was no adverse reactions. I didn't have a stroke. I didn't have any issues. Now, the risk goes up if they have to put any stents in. And because I didn't have any stents, the risks are something like 1 in 1,000 of side effects. But if they have to put stents in, the risks go up to more like 1 in 100. Right when I had the procedure, I asked them afterwards, how did it go? And they said, you have significant blockages. So they went into it later on, and I'll get into more details in future videos, but I have one major artery blocked at 99%. So I have another major artery that I had my stents put in 9 years ago at 97%, I think it was. So the interesting thing about that is the reason why I was pushing for an angiogram and CT scoring test to begin with a couple years ago was my stents were designed to last, or the average lifespan of these stents was 8 to 10 years. So when I was coming up in the 7-year mark, I wanted to start to get some tests done to find out how my stents are doing. I had a real difficult time with my second cardiologist to make this happen because her argument was these tests are designed to see if you have atherosclerosis or heart disease. We already know you have it, so it's redundant to do this test. And my argument was, oh no, I want to know how my stents are doing. It's been years and it's coming up to the beginning of the end for the lifespan of these stents. Now, people can go longer with stents. Now, I haven't been on cholesterol medication, so keep that in mind. I still made it the 9 years between the 8 and 10 year window for these stents. So without cholesterol medication, and of course I've been on a carnivore diet for the last few years. So this channel's been monitoring my weight loss on a carnivore diet and also my health. Overall, my health has been dramatically good since I've been a strict carnivore. Now, I was wavering on and off with carnivore, as a lot of you people have out there in the carnivore community, trying to be strict with it. And it took me a while before I was strict with it. I started it in 2018. I first started low carb back in 2013, but it wasn't until 2018 I heard about carnivore, and I had my heart attack in 2015. So we're talking 2013, 2015, 2018 before I became carnivore, on and off. And I wasn't strict carnivore till very early in 2021. So I've been strict carnivore for about 3.5 years now. That's what it's coming up to. And I have had wonderful success. Most of my health issues have gone away. The one I've still had plaguing me is high fasting insulin. It's why I've been at this weight plateau. I still have about 80 pounds to lose. And I've been at this plateau for almost a couple years now. So high fasting insulin is a known issue for heart disease. So for a long time, cholesterol was the demon. That's what we all thought was causing heart disease. That's what I was raised to believe. That's what I learned when I was in college. I have a strong science background as a massage therapist and learned a lot about anatomy, physiology, pathology. And the way it worked was cholesterol was the demon. Now I've learned in the last number of years that that's all been basically hoopla based on weak science and also fraudulent science on top of that. You can do your own research into that. I recommend starting with the big fat surprise. That's a great way to start going if you want to learn more about cholesterol and the cholesterol theory of heart disease. So anyway, I haven't been taking my cholesterol meds. I took them for about a year after my initial heart attack. And the more I learned, the more I realized I didn't want to be on those. So I stopped, and I still made it the average length going into my existing condition. So keep that in mind. There's going to be a lot of people out there, unfortunately, and I look forward to your comments, who are going to say, well, this is what you get for being on a carnivore diet, or this is what you get for not being on your cholesterol medication. Not being on my cholesterol medication and being on a high-fat animal diet for all these years still got me to the average length of time before these stents were to wear out, right in the middle of that 8 to 10 year mark. So you know, really? You want to make an issue of that? Keep in mind, my heart disease pre-existed me going carnivore. So I was plant-based before that. So for any of you out there who are arguing going plant-based, I personally believe that plants can be medicinal. I really do. So look at anything from oils. Look at castor oil. There's lots of different oils out there that can be used medicinally. And I'm a big believer in that, as well as teas, as well as herbs. I do think they have their place. I have a history of gout, and I think celery is actually really good for gout. So there's certain foods out there that can be beneficial for different conditions. And in the plant kingdom, I'm not 100% against plants. I keep them out of my diet because I feel better without them. And you might argue, well, look where you are now. It's like, go back and watch the first few minutes of this video and how I explained where I got to. My quality of life has been extremely good. So here's the crazy part. I've been riding my bicycle to work for the last month, more so in the last couple weeks since the weather's been nicer. And I have 3 hills on the way back home. So going to work, it's an easy 7-minute bike ride. Coming back, it's about 11 minutes, and I have 3 big steep hills. I've made progress in the last month. This is kind of funny in its irony. In the last month, I've made progress, so I can make it up 2 of those 3 hills. I have a couple blocks of flat ground and then a hill, and then a few blocks of flat ground, and then another hill followed immediately by the 3rd hill. So that 3rd hill is pretty difficult because you can't start with any momentum. So I only get about 20% up it. When I first started riding my bicycle, I couldn't get up 2 of the 3 hills. I could get up the second one, but I couldn't get up the 1st and 3rd, and I had to take breaks. And now I was at the point where I could make it up the 1st hill, I could make it up the 2nd hill, and 20% of the 3rd hill without any breaks. And I found out I've been doing that with a major artery blocked 99% and another major artery blocked by 97%. So they're going in to do open heart surgery. So that's where this video is going. So I'm going to be doing open heart surgery. I don't know when exactly. They sent me home. They said within the next month I'll be doing that. So I've been working on just telling close friends and family. I've been trying to organize this. I've been trying to do some personal research on this. I have a lot to figure out. I live on my own, so I have to figure out how to coordinate taking care of myself when I get back home. I'll be in the hospital for about 5 days. I won't be able to drive or work for about 6 weeks. That sucks because I'm self-employed, so money is going to be an issue. As lots of you know out there, I went through some difficult times in the last number of years, so this is just going to be another hill to climb over all the hills I've had to climb in the last few years. So I look at this as it's going to be a pretty awesome success story when I get to the end of this. You can choose to look at this with difficulty. I really don't have any choice. The only choice is to be not optimistic, but realistic. Try and anticipate what I'm going to have to go through. That's how I find managing these things works for me. That's how I manage stress. I have to acknowledge what I'm going through, and then I think kind of like a Plinko board, or like a flow chart. I personally analyze all the directions that Plinko chip is possibly going to go down before it gets to the end, and how to manage every possible direction and turn I'm going to face in the near future. Anyone that has any tips out there for going through the actual recovery part of this, I'd appreciate it. But for the most part, this is what I'm going to be going through for the next little while. So I'll be making videos about carnivore and also updating you about my progress going through this progression with my open heart surgery. So yeah, they're going to be going through the sternum, and then they're going to be locking the sternum back with some wires. And while that's healing, I'm really not going to be able to do too much. So I still plan on putting videos out. What I might do, because I'm sure for a few weeks there, it's going to be difficult to even record videos or do anything. So the quality might not be there in my videos for the next little while, or I may just record some videos in advance in case I'm not up for doing any videos throughout that first few weeks when I know I'm going to be in a lot of pain and my energy is going to be wonked, or I may not even just have any opportunity to record any videos. So the channel's still going to be going. I put out videos every Monday and Friday by 4:30, and we'll see how all this goes. So the goal of these videos, along with my channel, is to be helpful. Now, I do plan, of course, sticking to a carnivore diet. I was talking with Kelly Hogan about this. I told her early on when I found out this was happening, and she asked, has this changed your views towards carnivore? And I said, no, not at all. You can't stress out about something that you have no control over. I can't control the fact that I have heart disease. I can try and manage it to a certain degree, but I can't control the fact that's a hereditary issue. The cardiologist even said, for those of you who want to be skeptical about the carnivore diet, the cardiologist even said, you can do as much as you want. When it comes to family history and cardiovascular disease, you might make a 25% impact at best between exercise and diet. The rest of it is basically genetics. And my father had heart disease. He had his first heart attack at 47. He had a major heart attack at 55, open heart surgery at 65. So it's not a big surprise that I'm here where I am. You know, I had my first heart attack in my early 40s. I'm a much bigger guy than my dad, and I'm going to be going through this in the near future. So I'll get into more details about all this, of course, in the near future. But for the most part right now, this is going to be what my channel is going to be about. Carnivore, as well as recovery and going through this process. So the goal of this isn't to be feeble afterwards. The goal of this surgery is to increase quality of life. I already have a pretty good quality of life. Keep in mind, I had 0 symptoms going into this. So I was just doing this to be proactive. That's why I wanted to book my calcium scoring test originally with my cardiologist, because I was trying to be proactive. But instead, he sent me for a stress test, and then we went straight to an angiogram after that. So that's where I am right now. And yeah, I hope everyone out there is doing well. This is my situation. And I'm going to figure it out as I go along, because that's kind of what you have to do. Just take it as it comes and knock it down as it comes. All right. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate you tuning into this video. Take care.